we're For this one, we're given the equation x squared plus y squared plus 6x plus 5y equals negative 45 over 4. And so this question asks, what is the radius of the circle? Well, to find the radius, we have to use the formula x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, where h comma k is the center of the circle and r is the radius. And so, well, how do we get this into this form? Well, for that, you have to figure out which you'd have to do this basically. So you have this 6 here for the 6x, and you do 6 divided by 2. You always divide by 2, and whatever you get from that squared, which 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 3 squared is 9. So it would be x squared plus 6x plus 9. And this x squared plus 6x plus 9 simplifies into x plus 3 squared. And for the other part, for the y minus k squared, it would be the 5y. So 5 divided by 2, because you always divide by 2, squared. So 5 over 2 squared would just be 25 over 4, because you just square the top and square the bottom. So that would get you y squared plus 5y plus 25 over 4, which when you simplify that, it becomes y plus 5 over 2 squared. And then for the right side, we have to add these two numbers because we added them on the left side. So that would just be plus 9 and plus 25 over 4, because here we added plus 9 here, and here we added 25 over 4. And then once you simplify, we have to get all of them divided by 4, which would just be 36 over 4 plus 25 over 4 minus 45 over 4, which would just be 61 over 4 minus 15 over 4, which would just be 4. So the radius, so this radius squared is 4. So the radius is the square root of 4. So the radius would come 2. This was probably one of the most complex questions on the SAT so far. It's pretty difficult. So I had to actually finish this question before we started. Someone asked, what grade do we learn this? I think this is probably in pre-calc. I think, because this is based off of the unit circle, kind of. Not exactly, but I do think this is in pre-calc. But the answer for this question is 2. And this is probably one of the hardest questions on the SAT that's been there so far. Okay, we're now moving on to the calculator section. So question 1. I'll give you a minute. Okay, so for this one, we're given the equation 8x equals 2x plus 12, which equation has the same solution. I just subtracted 2x from the right side and 2x from the left side. And so 8x minus 2x is 6x. And then 2x minus 2x is 0. So you still have the 12. So 6x equals 12, which matches answer choice D. Okay, question 2. And calculators are allowed on this section. Remember that? Okay, so for this one, we have the equation k of x is 3x minus 5 over 2x plus 3. And we're asked what is the value of k of 1? Well, for this, we just substitute in 1 for x. So wherever you see x, you substitute 1. So 3 times 1 minus 5 all over 2 times 1 plus 3. So 3 minus 5 is -2, and 2 plus 3 is 5, so -2 over 5, which matches answer choice C. Okay, question number 3. Okay, so for this one, we're given that when the temperature of water is some temperature, um, water travels at a constant speed of 1,500 meters per second. So 1,500 meters per second. At the same temperature, so that'll mean the same speed. How far in meters would sound travel through water in 15 seconds? So we have 15 seconds and 1,500 meters per second. So 15 times 1,500, which is 22,500 meters, which is answer choice B. Okay, question 4. Okay, so for this one, we have a rectangular image and we have width and length, and we have a ratio. So length over width is some ratio. And we have a new image where the width is 3 times the long, so 3 times the width. And so how many times the length? So for this, I just use the variable x times the length. What is x? And so it says that it's the same ratio. So x times the length over 3 times the width should still equal the same number that we assigned on the top. And we also know that length over width is 1. So here, length over width would just be 1. So we have x over 3 times 1 equals 1. And so that would mean that x equals 3. So we have 3L, which is answer choice C. Now, did you need any of this work to get the right answer? Probably not. You could have probably just figured out the right answer in like 2 seconds. But whatever. Okay, question 5. Okay, so for this one, we're given a list from 4 to 10, and we're told that there's 11 employees in that list, so 11 in total. And we're asked what is the percentage of participants who gave a rating of 5. Well, there's 2 entries here that are 5. So 2 employees gave a rating of 5 out of 11 total, which is 0.1818181818, and it just keeps going on, which is approximately 18%, which is answer choice B. Okay, question 6. Okay, so for this one, we're given the same list, and we're told that it's the same list, and it's asking us what is the ratio of number of participants who gave a rating of 6 or higher, so greater than or equals to 6, to the number of participants who gave a rating lower than 6, so 2 less than 6. And so the number of participants that gave it greater than or equals to 6 is 8, 2, and then a number less than 6, which is 3. So 8 to 3, which matches answer choice B. Okay, question 7. Okay, so for this one, we're told a bunch of numbers and we're told that if he drove at a constant rate, um, the approximate distance he drove during the race can be modeled by y equals 5x. So y equals 5x. And it says, which graph best represents the relationship? Well, using this formula, when x is 0, what can y be? Well, 5 times 0 is 0, so y would have to be 0. That means that the intercept would be 0, comma 0, which is only true for graph A. So the answer here has to be A. Okay, question 8. Okay, so for this one, we're given that the area is 7,000 meters squared, or square meters. I'm just going to write it in meters squared. And we know that 1 square meter, so 1 meter squared, is 10.76 square feet. So 10.76 feet squared. And so if we just want to convert this into this, we just do 7,000 meters squared times 10.76 feet squared, which gets us 75,320 square feet, which is answer choice C. Okay, question 9. Okay, so for this, we're given a graph. The numbers do not matter because what you should realize when you first look at this graph is that it has a positive slope and a positive y-intercept. That means in the form y equals mx plus b, the slope has to be positive and the y-intercept has to be negative. And if we look at the answer choices, A has a negative slope, so it can't be that. B has a negative slope, it can't be that. C has a negative y-intercept, so it can't be that. So it has to be answer choice D. For this one, the numbers don't matter. We just have to realize if it's a positive slope and a positive y-intercept. Okay, question 10. Okay, so for this one, it gives us an equation, 2x plus 1 squared equals 81. What are all the possible solutions? Well, we'd have to take the square root of both sides, so 2x plus 1 equals plus or minus 81. And so why is it plus or minus? Well, let's just take this original equation, for example. If you do 9 squared, you'd get 81. If you do negative 9 squared, you'd still get 81. So that's why you get plus or minus, because both positive and negative 9 would technically work. So 2x plus 1 equals 9, and 2x plus 1 equals negative 9. 2x equals 8, 2x equals negative 10, x equals 4, and x equals negative 5, which gets us answer choice number B. Or answer choice B. Okay, question 11. Alright, so for this one, we're given some scatter plot, and when we draw a line of best fit, we can see that as a negative slope and a positive y-intercept. And so for answer choice A, we're given a positive slope, so it can't be answer choice A. For B, we're given a negative slope and a positive y-intercept, so it could be answer choice B. For C, we're given a positive slope, so it can't be answer choice D, or it can't be answer choice C. And for D, we're given a positive y-intercept and a negative slope, so it could be answer choice D. So we just have to decide between B and D. And so to do that, we can just see that on the graph that this is at approximately 30. And so the y-intercept is at approximately 30. So that would mean it would be answer choice D. So the correct answer is D. Okay, question 12. Okay, so for this one, we're given 4 times x plus 1 equals 16. What is the value of x plus 1? Well, since x plus 1 is what it's asking for, and it's also in the equation, I just substitute for another variable, like y. And so 4y equals 16. That means y equals 4. And then if we resubstitute, we get x plus 1 equals 4, which is what it's asking for, which means it's answer choice B. X plus 1 is equal to 4. Okay, question 13. Okay, so for this one, we're given the equation 0.95C plus 0.05N equals 8.87, and we're given that C is copper, N is zinc, and that the density of copper is 8.96, so C equals 8.96. So basically for this equation, we just plug in 0.95 times 8.96 plus 0.05 N equals 8.87. When we plug this in for
We're having some internet issues, so it just got disconnected. She will join in sometime.
Okay, so my camera isn't working. It'll probably connect in like a minute. So for this one, we're given a list and we're told there are 7 teams and the score 30 was recorded in error. If the score of 30 points is removed, which statement best describes the effect on the mean and median? Well, since 30 is the lowest number in this list of numbers, that means that the mean would increase and the median would stay the same because the median right now would be 71, and if we remove 30, it would still be 71. So the median would stay the same. So the answer here would be D. Answer choice D. Okay, question 15. And no, we need to get the same equation, and 5 times 2 is 10, which gets us answer choice A. Okay, question 16. Okay, so for this one, we're given a triangle inside of a circle. And so this is actually, there's actually some identities for circles inside of, or for triangles inside of circles. I mixed these up. For triangles inside of circles. And that's that angle A has to be equal to angle C. And also that arc AC has to be equal to 2 times B. And so in this case, B is 55. So arc AC has to be equal 2 times 55, which is 110. So the answer here would be choice B. Okay, question 17. Okay, so for this one, we have two inequalities. Y is less than 1 over 2x plus 4, and y is greater than negative 2x plus 4. And so for this one, the easiest way to do it is just graph it. So as you can see, I graphed two equations. And the purple area is the area that's covered by both. And then so it's asking which is a solution. Well, the solution would be in the purple area, which would be enter choice D, 2, 4. If you go right 2 and up 4, that is inside of the purple area. So the easiest for these is just to graph it, because you are allowed a calculator. You could also solve this by hand, but why would you waste the time doing that? Okay, question 18. Okay, so for this one, we're given the graph of y equals f of x. It asks what is the graph of y equals f of x minus 2? Well, if it's f of x minus 2, then y is just whatever this is minus 2, which just means you have to shift f of x down 2, which if we look at the graphs, the correct answer would be C. We basically just take the original graph and shift it down 2, or move it down. Okay, question 19. Okay, so for this one, we're given um a bunch of information, and basically what we have to do is we have to create an exponential model. So an exponential model is just f of whatever it would be. So in this case, it's time. So f of time is base times the rate to the power of t. And so in this case, the base is 250.72 million US dollars, and the rate is 15%. So 1 plus 0.15, because it's 115% of what it was originally. And then to the power of time, which is answer choice D. Okay, question 20. Okay, so for this one, we're given two box plots and it asks which of the following is true. Which of the following measures must be greater for the tanker merchant fleets than for the dry bulk merchant fleets? And it's the median and the range. And so let's start with the range because it's the easiest. For range and box plots, it's just the very leftmost part and the rightmost part. So it would be in this case 400 minus, I don't know, like 10 or something for the tanker. And for the dry bulk, it's like, I don't know, 300 minus 0. But basically, the dry bulk's range is a lot less. So 2 would be true. And then for 1, median means the middle number. So in a box plot, that's like this. The median is this center line or inside the actual box thing. And so for the tanker, it's like, I don't know, 170 or something, or 160. And for the dry bulk, it's like 80 or 70. And so the median for the tanker is also greater than the median for the dry bulk. And so that means that 1 is also true. And so that means that the answer choice here would be C, because both 1 and 2 are true. Okay, question 21. Okay, so for this one, we're given the equation x times x minus 12 minus 12x plus 12, or x minus 12 equals 0. And so for this, we just multiply everything out. So that's x squared minus 12x minus 12x plus 144, because you carry forward the negative. And so that's just x squared minus 24 plus 144 equals 0. And then this is basically quadratic, so you could either graph this or you can just simplify it out. When you simplify this out, you get x minus 12 squared equals 0. And so x is 12, and that's the only answer. So the answer here would be B. Okay, question 22. Okay, so for this one, we're given the equation 1.15 plus 0.065x equals 1.41, and we're given that 1.15 is the initial price, 1.41 is the ending price. So that means that 0.065x has to be the average increase every month, because we know that the initial and final was more than 1 month. It said several months. So 0.065 has to be over every month. So the answer here would be answer choice C, the average rate of change in dollars per month and the average price of the pound of oranges. Okay, question 23. Okay, so for this, we're given this rectangle thing, and we're told what is the length, we're asked to find the length of CE. And so to find that, well, first we're given that AB is 6 and CD is 6 and that AC is 10. And so we need to find out the length BC. And so that's just a squared plus b squared equals c squared. The hypotenuse here is 10, so 10 squared is 100, so 100 equals 6 squared plus b squared, so 36 plus b squared. And so we know that this length BC is 8, and so that means that length AD also has to be 8. And then we have another triangle, and we can find out that we can plug in the same formula and find that this is a length of 7 for ED. And then we can use the formula again for a third time and do 7 squared plus b squared equals 6 squared. And we find out that EC has a length of 3.6, which is answer choice A. Okay, question 24. Okay, so for this one, we're given a table and all that. And for question 24, it's asked at store X, the customer buys 4 tires and receives a discount, but does not have them installed. And so for the table, we go into this store X, and we see the list price is 90 per tire, so 90 times 4. And the customer receives a discount, so the discount is 50% off list price for every tire. So 1 minus 0.15, which is 0.85. So 90 times 4 times 0.85 gets us 306, which is answer choice D. Okay, question 25. Okay, so I think this one we have the list price at, so for this one it says that the total cost is 100, so the total cost is 100. And it says that they sell and install 4 tires where the discount is applied. So they sell it, so list price, which is 4A. They install it, which is $50 for all 4 tires. And the discount price is buy 3 tires at list price and get the 4th one free. So you subtract 1 tire from the cost. And so that gets you 3A plus 50 equals 100. And then you subtract 100 from both sides and you get 3A equals 50, or 3A minus 50, which is answer choice B.
Okay, it's almost time, so we might continue with the next question during the next class. And since the next class will be the last class for this SAT, what I would ask is if anyone has another question, if you have any other problems that you would like to learn, you can send those questions to India House. And we will let Pushya know about those, and he can give answers to those questions during the next class. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. See you next week. Bye-bye.